Hey everybody, it's me, John Ward, and welcome back to another short review. Sorry for the voice, I am sick, but I wanted to get this review out. This is for Kraven the Hunter, and part of the Sony Spider-Verse or Venom-verse, whatever you want to call it. Um, I wanted to review this because I've reviewed all the other like Sony Spider-Verse or Venom-verse films. I have one video with 3 of the Venom films, and then I did a second video that is Madam Web and Morbius. And so I thought I would end it with this one. Uh, I I heard nothing but bad things about this film, and it was held for a year or longer, uh, which was, it's never a good sign. And I mean, I just I don't know what Sony's plan was, because you have with something like The Amazing Spider-Man 2, they are, or even probably the first Amazing Spider-Man, they're setting up for the Sinister Six. And what was the goal here? What was the plan? Because they're taking all of these villains, turning them into anti-villains, and basically making them like heroes. And excuse me. And I don't know what the overall goal was with these films. And if you watch the trailer for Kraven the Hunter, there's definitely stuff missing. And that might have been from reshoots, or maybe Sony just said, that's it, this is the last one. Cut out anything that would lead to a sequel. Basically, maybe during like the ending credits, you could see stuff in the trailer where Kraven already, where he has the furry kind of like vest on, and he's got the spear, and he's in like a cave. That's not in the movie. So there's a couple shots like that in the trailer where it's just stuff that's not in the movie. It's I would like to know what their goal was. And I'm getting tired of studios not having a plan, not having a goal. And normally, I mean, you would sit down and say, okay, we're going to make, if you have to do a trilogy, let's say, or like a franchise or whatever it is, we're going to start with this, and it will lead to this, and then it will lead to this, and then this will lead to this. Films today don't seem to have that. They had that with basically like with Marvel, with phases 1 through 3 worked really well, but now there's really no connection. This one, the only connection that I could see in it is where Kraven is having like a nightmare, and all these spiders are falling out of trees. That'd be like the closest thing to Spider-Man. But I just don't know. And Aaron Taylor Johnson, I like him as Kick-Ass, and I have nothing against the guy, but I don't know, he just seemed bored. Russell Crowe, who has a thick like Russian accent, is like chewing up the scenery, and I think he was having a great time doing it. He was probably really having fun. Maybe he realized what he was doing, and where everybody else was taking this really seriously. Along with him, since I appreciate him, I would say that I enjoyed it being R-rated. I liked the blood in it. I could appreciate that. I liked the gore. Sticking like a knife or something into somebody's neck, or having a bear trap stuck on somebody's head. That stuff I really enjoyed. I like it being R-rated. It's, but I didn't get the overall point. I don't get why he, and well, this goes into the things that I appreciate, that Kraven is killing like big game hunters. I like that. I'm an animals rights person. Um, I kind of have an issue with guns, and I I like that he was killing off these people that would be hurting animals. So I enjoyed that too. But I don't get the change. I mean, that drastic of a change from the comic book. I guess that they kind of changed a bunch of stuff from the comic book. Because like, you know, Kraven is changed, Calypso is changed. Dimitri, who ends up being the chameleon. I mean, there are things, and I'm not, there's the foreigner. Yeah, you don't. So I'm not too familiar with Kraven the Hunter as far as the comic book goes. But from what I've seen online is that they did change a considerable amount. And I think that this, maybe there's too many cooks. Maybe there's just too many problems with trying to take these villains and turn them into anti-heroes. I don't think the directing was bad in this. I don't think, I mean, they tried to explain stuff in the writing, but there is some really bad writing in this. There's also some bad, ADR. There's some bad editing. I think they wanted to make a good film. Let's see, what is the director? So the director is J.C. Candor. Let's see, what else has he done? He hasn't. Yeah, he's. I don't know any of these movies. Margin Call. Well, okay, I know of that, but I've never seen it. All Is Lost. That's Robert Redford. Okay. A Most Violent Year. Triple Frontier, and Kraven. So I've heard of some of his films, but I don't think I've seen any of them. And if we're looking at the budget, so you're saying here that the budget was between 110 million and 130 million, and it only made 30.2 million. So that's not good. I'm surprised that they just didn't dump this onto like, like Disney Plus in like the Marvel area. Because because it only made, like, in the United States, 15.2 million. And then in other areas around the world, it made 15 million. And so for a grand total of 30.2, that is really bad. So no wonder Sony said to just dump the movie, to just not give it a shitload of advertising and just kind of get it out there and see what money we could make. It was not a cheap film. Wasn't a horribly expensive movie, since some of these movies are coming in at like 200 million, 180 and stuff. So, but there's certain things in it that I didn't understand. Like, so Kraven he's pretty much a normal kid. And we got Russell Crowe's the dad. The mom commits suicide. Russell Crowe's character calls her weak. So he takes the two kids. He wants to leave the younger brother, Dimitri, in the United States. And then he wants to bring Sergey. Wants to keep him there to basically train him on how to run the company. And Russell Crowe's character is a very evil guy and kills a lot of people. And of course, Sergey doesn't want to be any part of this. But Russell Crowe takes the two brothers out on a safari. Sergey gets attacked by a lion that's kind of like a legend, and he gets dragged off into the woods, or I should say just into the desert, and he's mauled. And that's when Calypso as a little kid comes by, and the lion is already wounded. Russell Crowe shot it, I think, twice, and blood drips into Sergey's wound, and then Calypso gives him this medicine that her grandmother gave her, and I guess the combination of everything turns him into basically Kraven. And he has a I guess he can move like a lion. He's kind of indestructible, and he can jump around a lot. I took some of this stuff as like he was more of like a monkey, that I didn't know that lions could, you know, jump up onto a wall and crawl all the way up like Spider-Man. But the thing is, if you're going to give him these powers, which are really never defined, that at least mess up his clothes. He goes through windows. He gets thrown on the ground. He, you know, this is as Kraven, and he's chasing all these guys that are on this list. And once you make the list, you can't get off of it. And he is being beaten up by all these other people. And I think he gets like one thing of blood on him. Like his shirt is white. There is no dirt. There is no blood. There are no tears on his shirt at all. And I thought that was ridiculous. There's no blood on him. So I don't care if the guy's indestructible. If you crash through a window, you're going to get cut, but you're going to heal maybe faster, but you're still going to get cut. Just because you're indestructible doesn't mean that you can't get a wound or even break a bone or whatever. It's still going to heal. You're just not going to die. None of that kind of made sense to me. It's like they didn't have a clear idea of what Kraven can do, what Kraven can't do. And we don't fully, at least I didn't get that feel of Spider-Man. Like when Spider-Man's testing out all of his powers and he's screwing up and all that. I didn't get that from this. There's also the Rhino, who it's one of Russell Crowe's lackeys who he doesn't have respect for. And this guy does not like Russell Crowe. And he has this kind of, I know, like a little bag here that he keeps on his shoulder, and it goes into his skin, and that stops him from turning into the Rhino. At some point, he did go to a doctor to get this rough skin like a rhino. And when he unplugs the thing from the bag, like the needle from the from like his skin, he turns into the Rhino. Which is weird. Is why would he have horns? Like his whole skin would just be tough like a rhino. He wouldn't have horns. But I get it. He's the Rhino. I still would have preferred to have the Amazing Spider-Man 3 and have the Sinister Six pop up and get, you know, Paul Giamatti, who is playing the Rhino in that, in the big mechanical suit at the ending of part 2 to continue that fight in part 3. But no, the Rhino, which is supposed to be once again kind of, you know, indestructible because he has the Rhino skin. I guess that there is a soft spot, and Kraven sees that and stabs him, and then he gets run over, like trampled, and eventually he dies. And Dimitri wants to kill him, And Kraven says, no, that's not who we are. So I don't know if they're planning, and then then Rhino does die, but who knows? It's a comic book movie. I guess he can always be brought back. And a lot of people hate the look of the Rhino. I didn't mind it so much. The CGI wasn't great, but I guess if you're trying to fit with the original comic book, it does resemble the comic book. I mean, in the comic book, the guy looked like a rhino, and in this, he looks like a rhino. But the CGI just doesn't look perfect. So that's been getting a lot of criticism. And I guess Calypso's character has changed a lot. Like, she's more of a voodoo princess, like a priestess. And there's some connection with her and Kraven in the comic books. The biggest mistake of these movies is no Spider-Man. And we all know that. It's a Spider-Man verse without Spider-Man. So it's a Spider-Man movie without Spider-Man. And it just doesn't make sense for what they're doing. I've kind of accepted these type of things, especially with Venom. And back in the day, I was a huge Venom fan. I collected all the comic books and I read all the Secret Wars and all of that. So I was, getting into Carnage and everything that came after Carnage. And it's like, okay, fine. They're doing something different, but I don't think that they had any idea of what they were doing and where they were going. I think that they being, the big wigs at Sony just said, let's take these characters and we'll make movies out of them. So who knows if it's a copyright issue that they have to make a Venom movie to hold on to the rights, or maybe they had to make, Madam Web to hold on to the rights. But there is no clear definition on where any of these things are going, except that they seem to be in the same Spider-Verse as Spider-Man. Because every once in a while, you'll see, excuse me, the Daily Bugle will pop up on a screen, or there'll be a newspaper. There'll be some sort of hint that Spider-Man is there somewhere. And I think a show that does it a lot better than any of these movies is The Penguin. Is you win an entire season without Batman, and then the very last episode, you get that hint what's coming in the Batman 2. So, and we kept saying, fans of the show kept saying, well, where is Batman? What's happening with Batman? But it was fine because it was such a good show and so well written that you accepted that Batman was not in it. This is just going to be the Penguin, even though if you've seen the deleted scene with Batman and the Joker in Arkham Asylum, we know that the Joker is there too. We also got the Riddler in there. So, but we accepted it because it was good. These aren't good. That's the problem. None of these movies are truly good. And I own them all because I'm an idiot. I'm a completist. So I'll probably own Kraven the Hunter too. And I'm glad it's over, because I don't know what else they could do. It's like when they say, like, you're insane if you keep doing the same thing and thinking it's going to change. That's what the people at Sony seem to be doing. Like, they're crazy. You keep doing the same thing over and over again. The audience doesn't want it, but yet you just keep doing it. You're crazy. So sell all these rights to Marvel. I can't believe I'm saying that with my dislike for Disney and all things Disney, but sell the rights to Marvel, and then maybe they can do something better with it. It would have made more sense if we knew from the beginning that all of these characters would have all these separate movies. And then there would be one Spider-Man film up here. And all of these characters would then go into that Spider-Man film. You know, Spider-Man would meet Madam Web. You know, Madam Web would be helping him. He, you know, and then we could be introduced to the 3 Spider-Women. And all of a sudden Venom would come along. And then through that, you know, Kraven would be trying to kill Spider-Man for some reason. Like, for some reason, the Rhino just wants to kill Spider-Man. We don't know why. The Rhino doesn't like his dad. I don't think he had anything against Kraven. So, oh, and I do like that Kraven had Russell Crowe, his dad, killed by a bear. I like that. That was good. So, but that's pretty much it. So if I had to rate this from like 1 to 5, I would probably give this like a 1.5. If you're curious to just kind of end the series, just kind of seen them all, I'd wait till it comes out on, I don't know, Disney Plus, you know, just click on the little Marvel thing. Maybe it's there. And wait, I would not waste my time seeing this in the theater. I don't think that it's worth it. It would, and it's 2 hours. It's like slightly over 2 hours. And it's just boring. I mean, when the action scenes happen, they're pretty good. You know, I like the fight with the Rhino. But when it's dialogue, man, does it slow down. It just shuts down to just a creaking halt. I mean, it's pretty boring too. So yeah, that's my review. Thank you for putting up with me being sick. And yeah, if you've seen the movie, let me know down below and if you liked it or not. So, as I'm sure there's got to be some fans of it out there. But I think except for the first Venom movie, well, I know this, I think Carnage made money, but then it tapered off because people were disappointed. But all the other ones didn't. Yeah, so let me know what you think of just a series that they probably should have just stopped with Venom. I mean, really. Or just made 3 Venom films and called it a day. You know, maybe do a better Venom movie. Who knows? So, all right, everybody, thanks a lot. I appreciate it, and I will see you on the next video.